This is D, and let's dress for life. That's what's up. Some people would have you think that we are actually on the verge of another civil war. And mind you, there are plenty of black folk who got killed and displaced during the first Civil War. But the majority of the fighting was between white folk. And as we look at this second Civil War, well, if there is a Civil War, what is it that we're seeing? Some of this stuff is going to be white folk fighting white folk, just like this white guy who killed a white person just recently. I'm saying, here we are, we're trying to fight our battle, but it seems that white folk want to interject themselves. Now here's the thing, if they interject themselves, what type of white folk do we want fighting for us? Well, I'd like to tell you right now, consider the Civil War, the first Civil War. And there was a European American brother who you really did want fighting for you. And if we could get that energy into this second Civil War, we good. Who am I talking about? I know some of you might think I'm talking about John Brown, but John Brown died in 1859. He was martyred for the cause in 1859. But this brother I'm talking about was named Newton Knight. And I'm going to tell you this, Newton Knight did us right. Newton Knight, let me tell you real quick, he did us right during the Civil War, he did us right after the Civil War, and his legacy did us right, even after he died. During the Civil War, Newton Knight was from Jones County, Mississippi. Jones County, Mississippi really didn't believe in slavery. Believe it or not, okay? But the thing is, they and not only that, but they fought against the Mississippi seceding from the Union, because they knew that this whole thing about states' rights was about one thing: Mississippi, Alabama, South Carolina, and all these other states' rights to keep slaves. Interesting. They wanted to have the freedom to keep other people's freedoms at bay. But I digress. During the Civil War, the first part of the Civil War, Newton Knight actually fought for the Confederacy. But after that, after his father died, after he came from the battle, I'm not sure what happened, but Newton Knight basically just flipped the script. And he fought against the rebels. He rebelled against the rebels. Not only him, but several other men, hundreds of men in Jones County did that exact same thing. And during the Civil War, they actually declared Jones County a free state. They annexed Jones County for the Union. Not just to tell you how serious they were. You can go to the courthouse today where he and his men went in, took down the rebel flag, and put up the Union flag. One other thing that he did during the Civil War, if any black person made it to Jones County, that person was insured of two things. Number one, not being given back to his or her, quote, master, but number two, treated like a human being. After the Civil War was over, during Reconstruction, they sent federal agents down to Mississippi and into Jones County. And Newton Knight made sure that the rules, the regulations that the federal agent put in place were followed. One of the things was that black folk, these newly freed Americans, were given the right to vote. He made sure that they knew that they were given the right to vote. And not only that, but he made sure that they got to the polling stations to vote. And he made sure that they were unmolested when they went to vote. Added to that, the goods that the Freedmen's Bureau distributed, he made sure that they were distributed equitably. One other thing, any people who are trying to disrupt the lives of black folk, he put it into that in many different ways. Newton Knight did us right, my brother. Newton Knight did us right, my sister. And the half has not been told. But one thing I'm going to go to is I'm going to go to his legacy. Now, you know that this had to have been a bad boy if two things are happening. Number one, in the 21st century, they're making a movie about it. Number two, you know he had to have been a bad boy if they're still bothering his gravestone. He did marry. He attempted to marry a former slave named Rachel. I won't go into all the details, but I met his granddaughters, and they showed me a picture of somebody that they thought was Rachel. But here's something that's certain. Rachel died. Newton Knight married his stepdaughter. He had some issues, but don't worry about burning his statue down, because they ain't got no statue of him in Jones County. Okay, they don't. Trust me, they don't. But he married Georgine, and Georgine had a daughter. He and Georgine had a daughter. Talking about your legacy living on, his legacy lived on through his daughter. He advocated for the least of these. And he stood toe-to-toe with the hoity-toity, the highty-mighty. And guess what his daughter did? She did the exact same thing. When she became a Seventh-day Adventist, she went on to Battle Creek, Michigan, where she got her nursing degree. And she went right back to Soso, Mississippi. And who did she educate? She educated all comers. And she most certainly wasn't supposed to be educated. But just like her dad, she went toe to toe. There's so much more that could be said for Anna Knight, who went on to become a missionary to India, who came back to the United States and did incredible things for the black folk of Atlanta. She went on to teach at Oakwood University. There's so many things that she did, but so much of it started with Newton Knight, who did us right. Pick your friends wisely, and hopefully you'll pick a Newton Knight. Well, that's all we got for now. This is D, and let's dress for life. That's what's up. Peace.